This is CBC Here and Now.
It's weekend time, and a busy one at that. Lots of festivals and events on the go. I'll break down the forecast, which includes some sunshine, some showers, some rain, and even some thunderstorms. The full details are coming up.
Good evening. Let's get to our top story on Here and Now tonight. Less than a month after your power bill went up by almost 10%, well, guess what? It could be going up again.
Yes, electricity rates will jump 13% by 2019 if Newfoundland and Labrador Hydro gets the rate increase it's asking for.
Hydro says it needs the increase to prevent dark NL, this widespread blackout in 2014.
Hydro says customers have complained they've been hit with many tax increases recently and can't bear a hike on a necessity like electricity.
We need to continue to invest in the electricity system, and we've heard that from customers as well, that the reliability that they experienced in the 2013-2014 timeframe was not acceptable. We agree with that. So we've made a lot of investments to improve reliability, but we also have to balance cost, because you can't have, unlimited costs going into the systems.
And Hydro still has to make its case to the Public Utilities Board. It's expected to be another 8 to 12 months before the board sets a new rate.
The company that built the brand new Paul Reynolds Community Centre is suing the City of St. John's for nearly $5 million. The centre, which includes a large pool and gymnasium, only opened in June, but already the gym has been shut down due to water damage. Last week, the construction company that worked on the facility filed a lawsuit against the city. Ellis Dawn is alleging that City Hall defaulted on payments. The city isn't commenting on the case.
And here's what else is coming up on Here and Now.
Lights, camera, tours Cove. Another production crew has picked this province for their film. We'll take you onto the set.
And 5 senators speak out. They're pushing the premier to release Muskrat Falls protesters from prison.
Chase the Ace burnouts now.
Well, McIvers is happy that Chase the Ace is behind them, but the fundraiser has made for one massive come-home year.
A strange coincidence is unfolding on the Northern Peninsula. A parish priest is dead after being struck by a vehicle Wednesday night in Brig Bay. Reverend John Bosco was out for an evening walk when he was knocked down. He died on the way to hospital. The 39-year-old is originally from India, but had been living in Bird Cove for 2 years. News of his death comes as a shock. Just 4 years ago, another 39-year-old parish priest working in Bird Cove, also from India, died in a traffic accident.
Speaking of tragic accidents, a woman from L'Anse-aux-Clercs is dead after a boat capsized in the Gulf of St. Lawrence yesterday. A man from Blanc-Sablon has also died, and 3 others are in hospital. The distress call came in around supper time when a boat carrying 5 people capsized off the coast of Vieux-Fort, southwest of Blanc-Sablon. Locals dragged 4 people to shore. A military cormorant helicopter picked up the remaining person. The group was headed to a wedding in St. Augustine, about 150 kilometers southwest of Blanc-Sablon.
Transgender activist Gemma Hickey was back in court today in St. John's. Hickey is taking legal action against the province to get a non-binary birth certificate. Now that means the person does not identify as male or female. Hickey filed an application with the province's Supreme Court saying it's unconstitutional to choose between male and female and violates provincial and federal human rights legislation. Hickey applied for a non-binary birth certificate in April and is believed to be among the first in Canada to do so. A Buckens Junction man who admitted to causing the death of his cousin in a drunk driving crash has been sentenced to 5 years in prison. Reginald Howard White was sentenced this afternoon for impaired driving causing death. He was driving an SUV that flipped over in Millertown 2 years ago, killing passenger Michael Pittman and paralyzing another passenger. At the time of the crash, White's blood alcohol level tested 3 times the legal limit.
Well, once again, a film crew has picked this province as the place to shoot their movie. Audience of Chairs is just wrapping up its local shoot, and the production is full of Newfoundland influence. The independent film is based on the novel by the same name and gives an intimate look at a mother living with mental illness. Here Now's Megan McCabe was on set.
It looks like a perfectly quaint Newfoundland setting as the crew shoots a scene for an audience of chairs in Tours Cove, based on a novel that opens readers up to a darker world, a mother waging a war against her mental illness.
I'm gobsmacked, to tell you the truth. I mean, this is what I've published 22 books, something like that, fiction, and this is the first time I've really had one filmed like this.
Okay, I'm giving the floor to
Clark says this is far from the solitary world of writing. She wrote the book in a cabin in Cape Breton where the novel's set, inspired by her cousin.
She was bipolar. She had a hard life because you know how you are, you're mocked and set aside and so on. And she was a real survivor. And, you know, she got her children back, you know. So I was very moved by the fact that her daughters were taken away from her. It was very sad. But then I had to do something about that sadness, hence the novel.
Clark, who's lived in Newfoundland for more than 30 years, says there can never be too many survival stories. And like St. John's director Deanne Foley, she's thrilled to be turning it into a film with an incredible cast and crew.
I think it's an unflinching look at this woman's struggle with mental illness. I think it's a very timely story. And sorry, it's my 8th day shooting, so I'm emotional. But it's about her connection with her daughters and a chance to really reconnect with the daughters she thought she lost forever.
Foley says it's an emotional story with a powerful character that will resonate with a lot of people.
Absolutely. I mean, it's about a mother and her connection with her daughters and a really complex relationship with her love and art and her career. And I think any woman can relate to that.
In an industry where women are underrepresented, this film has a female writer, director, lead character, all based on a book written by a woman.
Once wrapping up here in Tours Cove, an audience of chairs moves to Sudbury to finish filming and then go into post-production, and it's set to be released in festivals starting early 2018. Megan McCabe, CBC News, Tours Cove.
Well, Shahajid is attempting to uncover more of the community's past. We'll have details right after Ryan's weather in about 3 minutes.
And here's a local sports achievement. Twin brothers from this province have earned places on both the soccer and track teams competing at the Canada Summer Games. That's ahead. It's Friday.
Yes, it is.
Everyone wants to know what the weekend is going to be like.
Yeah, you look like a stressed out man trying to figure out between all the festivals and the food fishery, you know, everyone's counting on a good forecast.
Yeah, that's right. And there is a ton of things on the go. Corner Brook Triathlon this weekend. Tall ships are in town. Bonavista has a festival going on. The events in Grand Bank and also Flat Rock and, of course, George Street Festival. So, yeah, no short. And, of course, just camping and going to the cabin, and so everybody wants to get out. It's late July, early August, and this is definitely a busy time of year. But we will have some showers and some rain to watch out for this weekend. As we take a look at your highs today, pretty much in that 22-degree range for most, from St. John's to Corner Brook. You can see, as expected, in those high teens along the south coast, not far from the 23-degree mark in Happy Valley Goose Bay, a little cooler in through Lab West. And as we take a look, it's still a pretty nice evening out there. St. John's is really clouded over this afternoon, 17 right now, and it'll continue to be about that temperature over the next couple of hours, but not dropping off too much for this evening. And we'll show you your George Street Festival forecast if you're headed down there or have some plans for this evening in the metro region. Satellite radar picture there is where we've had the heaviest rains over southwestern parts of Newfoundland today. Some showers up across the west coast, some scattered showers even up, sneaking up into central Newfoundland, but nothing too steady out there. That'll change as we roll into the Saturday night, Sunday time period. This low that's rolling off the coast of the U.S. will really wrap up, and that will be bringing in some steadier rains as we move into the Saturday night, Sunday time period. We'll talk about that in just a second. There is that George Street Festival forecast, and really, even if you're in the backyard tonight in the metro region, this is what we're looking at. 17 degrees right now. We will not dip off too much around 9 o'clock, still around 16, and mainly cloudy skies and a dry forecast through midnight tonight. Watch the future tracker, which has a pretty good handle on where those showers are right now. Not picking up a couple of scattered showers up into the northeast parts of the U.S., northeast parts of the island, that is, right now. It's Friday. As we roll through this evening, we will see some of those shower chances marching into central parts of Newfoundland, but most of the action remains limited to the west coast and up into southeastern Labrador. And yeah, some showers even into tomorrow morning for Lab West. Temperatures there just 6 degrees. Across the island, it's quite mild. 9-10 degrees in Metro, but should be around 15 for Corner Brook, and winds generally light for everybody. As we roll throughout the day, once again, the heaviest, steadiest showers and risk of thunderstorms even for Corner Brook and the west coast, the northern peninsula, southeastern Labrador, scaling up into Happy Valley Goose Bay, and that risk does push into central. And we are talking about the possibility of some thunderstorms tomorrow as well in central, as far east as Gander and the Bay of Exploits, possibly Terra Nova as well. You can see where we will see some sunny breaks in the mix for St. John's. I think the clouds do thicken up into the afternoon with southwest winds, and it's a mostly cloudy day. Humber Valley, Corner Brook, Stephenville, but some gradual clearing into the afternoon. So it's definitely the wettest part of the day will be in the morning along the west coast into the northern peninsula. Happy Valley Goose Bay, I think, starts dry tomorrow, but that line will kind of fire up into the afternoon, and I think we get into a better chance of some showers and thunderstorms for you folks for that afternoon time period. Some isolated showers in Lab West. Northwest winds will keep temps cool, but that is far from a washout for your forecast there. Now, the story for Sunday definitely changes as we see some clearing over the west parts of the island, and this system moving in from the south will bring some heavier rains into eastern Newfoundland. This is a wet day for the Avalon and most of eastern Newfoundland. Again, improvements towards the west and back into Labrador. Still some scattered showers, but not a washout there either. We'll break down Sunday in full detail, and of course, we'll walk you right through into next week with your regatta forecast. There's a little sneak peek of Sunday, even before we get to later in the show. We'll talk more about this and your long-range forecast in just a few minutes. Carolyn?
Thanks, Ryan. The community of Sheshatshiu is in need of housing, but finding a place to build isn't easy. Now, an archaeology program in the community is helping. Jacob Barker has more.
Rummaging through the past in the middle of a residential area of Sheshatshiu, looking for evidence of people who used to live here.
I guess this is a quartzite flake that came off during the tool making process. Yeah, that's that's what we found all day so far.
Going through every inch of soil.
So I'm pretty cool, like that we knew that our Innu people was here like thousands of years ago making stone tools, and it's pretty cool to be digging up these artifacts.
2,800 to 3,200 years ago, Innu people used to live here in tents, and this spot was actually on a beach.
As most people today like to camp, you go set your tent up by the water. People back 3,000 years ago did the same thing.
And while back then people lived in tents, today the need is for housing, and the need is dire. There are currently 130 families on a waiting list.
It is important, and we're still every day we're looking for housing, but it's slowly coming together.
Clearing this space will make room for 2 houses.
The property line is somewhere right around the fire hydrant.
Doing it the right way is important to the community.
Our elders and ancestors from the past that were here, like we're still respecting the land. Like we're not just destroying it.
I think it's important because you uncover the history of the way they live way back.
Yeah.
So I think it's important that we maintain it.
The community, I think, really needs to be commended for recognizing the significance of the archaeological resources here and actually putting in the manpower, but also the finances into kind of having this level of work done.
And while all sites are set on these lots to be completed this year, just across the road there are 3 more sites that need to be cleared. A vital need for the small community looking to tell the story of its past. Jacob Barker, CBC News, Sheshashi.
An art auction in St. John's has people putting their time, not their money, where their mouth is. Time Raiser is Time Raiser 150 is a national project aimed at promoting emerging artists. But to snag the winning bid, you've got to give up your time.
Time Raiser is a party for social good. What we do is we buy artwork from emerging artists. We then host live art auctions where people can come out and bid their volunteer time instead of their dollars to purchase the artwork and give back locally in their community. Time Raiser originated in 2003. Our founder, Anil Patel, came up with the idea to bridge the gap between arts and community. And he really saw a space where people who had time but maybe didn't have the funds to be able to purchase a piece, or they were interested in curating or getting their own piece of artwork, but they had time. And so he really came up with a way to bridge that gap and to be able to have those who had skills to give, be able to give back in the community and be able to get a piece of artwork. So we pay the artists market value for their artwork, and that's of utmost importance to Time Raiser and our organization. So we pay them, but they also get an opportunity to showcase. They get an opportunity to come out and meet the people and know that they're giving back to something as well, because that piece of artwork is more than just a piece of art that's going to get hung on someone's walls. There's going to be hours given back in the community, all thanks to their participation. 12 months to complete your pledge, which means that you're able to volunteer and collect those hours over the course of 12 months. We have a Time Raiser app, which makes it really user-friendly and accessible for people to track their hours, but we accept hours in any format. So if you choose not to use the app, you can have your volunteer agency present the paperwork that you've done them, and once you've completed them, you can pick up your artwork and put it on your wall.
While some Canadian senators are calling for the release of imprisoned Muskrat Falls protesters, we'll ask one senator why she's getting involved just ahead. 5 senators are calling for protesters in Labrador to be released from jail. They've sent a joint letter to Premier Dwight Ball calling on all 3 of them to be let out. Kim Pate is one of the senators who signed on to that letter, and she joins us from Ottawa. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Peter.
So why are you asking the Premier to let these 3 out of jail?
Well, I think clearly these are individuals who are trying to protect the environment, who are raising issues that not just Indigenous peoples, but others in Newfoundland and Labrador have raised around the concerns about this project. And the fact that this flies in the face of the very calls to action that the Truth and Reconciliation Commission recommended be taken in terms of adequate consultation with Indigenous communities and the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. My understanding is that the Premier himself in 2012 spoke out against this initiative. And the fact that we have many, many people calling for a forensic audit now also underscores the need to really examine why in fact things are proceeding, and that the very people who are trying to alert the public to these issues and who are, as land protectors and water protectors, trying to ensure that for generations to come we don't end up with a situation that will harm those generations. I think it behooves the government to intervene. I think it puts the judges in a very difficult position too when you have a Crown corporation imposing an injunction. They could lift that injunction. That's a political decision that could also be made, and say, let's start with a conciliation or a reconciliation type of discussion. Let's look at a forensic audit. Let's proceed in a way that is far more responsible than seems to be happening at the time.
Now, this injunction, though, doesn't stop people from protesting. It just stops them from being able to disrupt the project, prevent people from coming and going. So do you think that protesters should have the right to cause delays to the project, to be able to stop activity from happening on the site?
My understanding is all of the protests has been peaceful, that people are trying to ensure that there is, that people stop and basically examine these issues, and that those issues have not been adequately examined. And certainly, I think that the government has an opportunity to intervene to allow those individuals to have those issues adequately aired and have all of the public know exactly what the risks are, instead of just putting an injunction in place and proceeding roughshod over not just the Indigenous peoples of the area, but in the entire province and territory, and again the country, because my understanding is there hasn't been an adequate looking at not just those environmental issues, but what the long-term costs are to all Labradorians and Newfoundlanders and anybody else who may be actually using or wanting to utilize or potentially being impacted by the resource expenses as well.
Now, in this situation, you have an order that was made by a judge. Doesn't it set a dangerous precedent if you start having politicians going and second-guessing or overriding the decisions that are made by the separate judiciary?
Well, absolutely. I mean, that's not what we're suggesting, though. We're suggesting that this is a Crown corporation that has chosen the route of the court instead of looking to the other mechanisms that are available. So really, we're encouraging the government to say, this is a Crown corporation, you have an obligation. We actually had questions before the land protectors came and started raising their concerns. Now I think it's time to take a step back, and instead of continuing to escalate the situation by allowing it to be left in the courts, taking the responsible position and saying, let's step back, really examine this, and in the meantime, free the land protectors and have a respectful, constructive dialogue, not just impose injunctions, impose court action, which of course the judges have a responsibility to respond to.
Well, Senator, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much, Peter.
A much-loved Indian restaurant in St. John's is open again after a devastating fire. Up next, we'll take you inside India Gate. Welcome back to Here and Now. Well, two young athletes from this province have sports fans seeing double. 16-year-old twins Eric and Evan Knight live together, train together, and now they're competing against each other. That's because the boys have made not one, but two Canada Games teams each. Just take a look.
Feel about a week away now from going to what I presume is your first Canada Games.
Yes, I'm very excited. You know, I've been preparing for this ever since November. You know, I've been really excited to push myself to make it here. I'm glad it's coming soon. I'm really excited. We're hoping that all the training we've done, you know, especially with soccer, we train multiple times a week. We have 2 games a week. We've been going to the gym, and we have multiple practices as well, so we're hoping that will pay off. I'm going for track and field for the 4x400 meter relay, and for soccer too. I'm going for, with track, the 800 meter and the 1500 meter, as well as soccer.
How rare is this, to be competing as an athlete in 2 sports at the Canada Games?
I think we are the only twins that are going for 2 sports this year, so that's definitely a good feeling. I train with him all the time, so especially when I compete against him, it's, you know, like, oh, who's gonna win this time, or like who's been training harder, you know? So it's great that I can train with him and compete against him too. We always want to make sure we both do well. You know, we always want to know, like, as I'm running, me personally, I'll be like kind of glancing over my shoulder, like, I wonder where he is, like, will he pass me in the last 100 meters? So it's very nerve-wracking when we're running, for sure.
Is there a competitiveness between you two?
Yes, definitely. yes. I go out and beat him every time. I try to. You know? Depending on the event, for sure. He's a bit of a better sprinter than I am, so depending on the event, you know, one of us might have a better advantage. Yeah, there's the advantages and disadvantages every event. So with track and field, it's under 22, so being 16, it's a bit it's going to be a bit of a challenge up there. There'll be a lot of good competition, especially at such a high age, and compared to us, we're only 16. And in soccer, the same thing. It's under 18, so we're still a couple of years underaged, so everyone still has a advantage compared to us. Especially size. The size factor comes into it too. Hopefully we can, you know, get a scholarship somewhere. That'd be great. Go to university and keep up track for sure. Hopefully for the next Canada Games, I would like to go for that too. And yeah, play university. Go to university and play a sport somewhere. That'd be great. We love if we went together because we'll still be able to push ourselves, and we'll still have that chemistry, which is always good. And hopefully coaches are interested in that, which would be great.
Interesting story there. Well, India Gate Restaurant in downtown St. John's is back in full swing 14 months after fire destroyed it. The owner says it's taken much longer to reopen than they thought, but even with a whole new interior, the food is still the same.
It feels great after 14 months. It's been tough, but glad to be back. It's been a great journey. Newfoundland been great for us, and we want to stay in Newfoundland for our business. Our kitchen staff is the same, and my outside staff is the same. There's few changes, but we have staff here past 22 years that they came back with us, so that was nice of them.
A lot of restaurants come and go, but India Gate has really stayed. We've been coming here probably, I'm going to say, since they probably opened, and we're really pleased that it's open. So we're back this week now that it's officially opened, and I know we're going to enjoy the food, because the food's wonderful and always good. So, but it was a real gap in the St. John's eating scene, I think, by not having it open for such a long period of time.
It's been great. St. John's been very loyal to us, and we survived here past 30 years, so which was great. It's no secret, it's my livelihood, so we have to make sure the workers, whatever you do it right.
The weather update is brought to you by Belltone Hearing Service St. John's, helping the world hear better.
All right, so we're going to have a look at the long range, and of course, looking ahead, everyone's looking to the regatta.
That's right.
Any guidance yet on regatta roulette? You know, are people, should they be buying their George Street Fest tickets yet? You know,
right now it looks pretty quiet, and I think if you know, based on the forecast as of now, it would be a go. Of course, always a grain of salt territory when we're talking about 5 days.
The forecast never changes,
no,
right?
Of course not. Of course not. But it does look pretty quiet next week. No big systems coming through and no big wind events. Of course, we have seen regattas that have come and gone where it has been raining, but not windy, and still it has gone ahead. So that, of course, is the big factor here in the for Kitty Video Lake and that regatta forecast, and we'll show you that in just a minute. Your weather on the way headlines: Saturday, sun, showers, and yes, some storms in the mix. Heavy rain and some thunderstorms for Sunday over southeastern Newfoundland. We'll get into that in just a moment. Yeah, and quiet next week. Couple of systems passing through, but no big weather systems moving through the region, at least for the first half of the week. There is the rain that's been working up towards western parts of Newfoundland thanks to that low that is spinning very, very slowly in Labrador, taking its time. Our next weather player is right here, developing along the coast of Labrador, and that will be the main player for Sunday across the island. Here's how it plays out. So that low, again, not really moving too much. There's a blocking high off to the northeast, so this thing is just stalling and spinning. Lots of cloud and shower activity. Periods of rain along the west coast, spreading up to the northern peninsula, southeastern Labrador. This will be the best chance of thunder boomers tomorrow. Will be right through here and then back into central. A chance of some thunderstorms firing up into the afternoon and evening hours. Grand Falls-Windsor towards Gander. St. John's, some sun in the mix, more so in the morning. Things certainly clouding up into the afternoon. 22 to 23 degrees. A little cooler again along the west coast with some gradual clearing into the afternoon, but the cloud cover still dominant for Corner Brook and the west. There are those showers and thunderstorms that are even possible for Happy Valley Goose Bay. Just 16 in Lab City. A sunbreak, but pretty cloudy there as well. Okay, so that low, again, will just kind of wander around in Labrador, even into Sunday. And here comes our next system. Periods of rain, at times heavy, and we are talking about a pretty good possibility of some rumbles of thunder with this one as well. The Burin, the Avalon, Clarenville, Bonavista Bay. That'll be the best chance of seeing some heavy rains on Sunday. Some gradual clearing into the evening, but pretty much wall-to-wall. Sunday is going to be a wet day. Temperatures just 17 degrees, a little bit warmer as you work your way to the west, and as of now, I think Corner Brook even some sun breaks on Sunday. Great news for the triathlon there. Tall ships underway in Corner Brook. We are looking at some scattered showers up in through southeastern parts of Labrador, including Happy Valley Goose Bay. I think Lab City is a pretty nice looking forecast as well. So in terms of rainfall amounts on Sunday, pretty good consensus that we're going to be in that 20 to as much as 50 millimeter range. But you can see here, this is the American forecast model, has that bullseye right over the Avalon. The European model has that bullseye further to the west, and we're still seeing some of that disagreement with some of the other models as well, including the Canadian. So still not exactly nailed down where we will see that heaviest rain, but I think it's a pretty safe bet that from Bonavista Bay to the coast of bays and then eastward, that's going to be your wettest forecast on Sunday indeed. We will clear as we roll into Monday. Still some lingering cloud cover, but some sun and cloud in the mix on the island. Lab City will be the wet spot on Monday with some shower chances there. And as we, yes, look ahead to that regatta forecast and that 7-day, you can see mainly cloudy skies, perhaps a bit of a sea breeze keeping temps a little on the cool side for this time of year. But all in all, we're right around seasonal through next week with some sunshine in the mix. In Labrador, again, a little bit cool, especially towards mid next week, but all in all, not half bad forecast on that how's she going gauge.
Well, it's time now to meet our young athlete of the day. Brooks Swain is from Foxtrap. Brooks is 3 years old and plays soccer with the CBS Mini Kicks on the Tim Hortons Black Forest team.
Yeah, it's his first year playing soccer and he loves it.
Awesome work, Brooks. You're today's young athlete of the day.
Well, thanks to a highly successful Chase the Ace lottery, MacGyver's is holding its first ever come home year. In about 3 minutes, we'll see what tips the community has for lottery organizers in the Goulds who are grappling with a similar $1 million fundraiser.
Well, Chase the Ace mania has taken over the Goulds, but it's not the first time a town has been overwhelmed by a huge number of people taking part in the fundraiser. Last year, the Conception Bay community of Bay de Verde and the West Coast community of McIvers struggled through its own Chase the Ace fever. Now, McIvers raised $900,000, and that money went towards the town's first Come Home year, which is happening this week. And joining me now is someone who knows a lot about the pros and cons of Chase the Ace, the co-chair of the Come Home Year Committee, Sterling Lawrence. So, Mr. Lawrence, we're all watching what's happening with the Goulds Chase the Ace right now, but what goes through your mind when you see those crowds?
It's just, I guess people are having their supper right now, so I wouldn't want to say exactly how it makes me feel, but let's just say it gives me knots in my stomach.
And why is that? Are you still recovering?
Oh, yeah, definitely. And our volunteers, our group of volunteers, they are out of this world, and our local volunteer fire department were instrumental in pulling it all off. But day after day, week after week, we made changes, just rolling with punches, and got it done.
And how difficult was it for you to get through that fundraiser?
Oh, it's a huge commitment. Work all week at it, stapling the tickets and books of sevens and visually checking every single ticket to make sure there wasn't any duplicates or anything missing. And it was a monumental task all week long. The whole town was involved.
Well, in the end, a lot of money was raised. And what did the Chase the Ace fundraiser mean for your town in the end?
Well, it allowed us to put off our come home year and not have to worry about, any more fundraising or to what extent we could provide entertainment and services for our come home year. And we spent a lot in the town getting ready and things for the kids, and it took a lot of pressure off, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And what sorts of things were you able to do? I know that there's a playground behind you that I think is fairly new.
Yeah, this is new, and over to this side we built our stage. We did improvements to our waterfront for the boat launches and things like that, because we're having a fishing derby all week, and we did improvements around our cemetery and just wherever in the town that we could see we could offer up some help in terms of labor and money. We just put it out there, yeah.
And so you're in the middle of Come Home Year right now. It ends on Saturday, I believe. How have things been so far? Have many people come back home?
Oh, yeah. Come Home Year has gone great, and a tremendous response from everybody who's taken part. And today there was a scavenger hunt, and everybody was going around looking for all kinds of weird items. There's a jigs dinner going on right now in the town hall. They're getting ready for some more kids events here now. We got a clown coming, teddy bear picnic kind of theme, and yeah, the response has been great.
So back to the Chase the Ace fundraiser, would you consider doing the same kind of fundraiser again?
No, I don't think. We're Chase the Ace burnouts now. We're not going to attempt anything like that. I'm not, never say never, but I can't see it happening.
So why not? Because in the end, you did end up with a lot of money to play with. So why not to go down the Chase the Ace road again?
Oh, the commitment is huge. And like I said, it was something that we didn't even anticipate getting into. That scope of work is monumental. It's a lot of work, and it's very stressful when you're dealing with hundreds of thousands of dollars and hundreds of thousands of tickets, and and people, crowd control. Everybody's safety is a big thing. So it's a lot. It's a ton of work.
Do you have any advice for the organizers of the Chase the Ace in the Goulds?
Well, you gotta assess after every week and see where you can make improvements or where you need extra manpower or help. Just roll with the punches and just go take it week for week, and that's pretty well all you can do.
All right, Sterling Lawrence, thank you so much for speaking with us, and good luck with the rest of your Come Home Year festivities.
Okay, Carolyn, thanks.
Well, now to some national news. Former Liberal BC Premier Christy Clark is resigning from political life. Clark informed her caucus she was stepping down as leader on August 4th. She'll also resign as an MLA. Clark served as Premier of BC for 6.5 years.
Music festivals in Canada have faced a number of problems in recent years, ranging from sexual assaults to drug deaths. The Evolve Music Festival in Moncton, New Brunswick is no exception, but this year volunteers decided to address some of the issues themselves. CBC News was given full access to the event. Stephanie Van Kampen reports.
Around 4,000 people make the trip to the Evolve Music Festival each summer. The standard greeting. Despite the carefree vibe, veteran evolvers know their 4-day fest can be dangerous. The festival doesn't offer drug testing, so festival goers decided to do it themselves. A group of 25 volunteers set up a tent and advertised free drug testing, looking for things like fentanyl. In this case,
that's MDMA.
Oh, yes, it is. MDMA, also known as ecstasy or Molly. Josh Watts says there's lots of that flying around, along with LSD and cocaine, but also other stuff.
I had a couple of samples of bath salts last night, and then this sample here was really dirty.
This man has come to get his cocaine tested.
Yeah, there's no speed in it.
That's awesome. Armed with that knowledge, he's ready to take it. As the day wears on, volunteers of a different sort are needed. This tent, known as the Tea Hive, is manned all day and night. They offer psychological support for people overwhelmed, confused, or dehydrated, along with a cup of tea. As night falls, people move to the dance floor. There are patrolling eyes here, too. A group calling themselves the Consent Kitties keep watch for non-consensual sexual activity. The kitties take shifts, talking to people about consent and alerting security when needed.
A big thing for us being on the dance floor is just being a presence, having people see us and know that we're, looking out for consent, just so it's in people's heads.
There were no reported assaults this year, and volunteers say because of their efforts, fewer people were sent to hospital. Just 3 overdoses and 1 person with heat stroke, far less than previous years. Evidence, volunteers say their efforts are working and needed. Stephanie Van Kampen, CBC News, Toronto.
Well, anyone who enjoys an alcoholic beverage may want to toast the findings of a new Danish study. The research suggests people who drink 3 or 4 times a week are less likely than teetotalers to develop type 2 diabetes. It also says wine offers the greatest benefit and the risk is reduced more in women than in men. The findings are based on the drinking habits of more than 70,000 people, but other health experts warn the findings are not a green light to overindulge. They say that can lead to other serious medical issues.
There's something new for passengers to contend with at Canada's busiest airport. About 700 ground crew are on strike at Pearson International Airport.
Treat us like human beings. We're just like machines.
Teamsters Local 419 walked off the job last night. They insist their beef is with their employer, Lewisporte, and they're not trying to delay flights or travelers. The workers are usually responsible for servicing about 30 airlines. According to the union, Lewisporte is trying to cut benefits and impose a 3-year wage freeze. Lewisporte says its latest offer includes wage increases. So far, delays appear to be minimal, but you may want to check with your airline if you're headed to Pearson.
A chilling moment caught on tape is getting lots of attention. This is video of an attempted robbery at a pizza place in Mississauga, Ontario yesterday. You can see someone pointing a gun at the head of the store employee. Police arrived a short time later and an altercation ensued. A teenager was shot and wounded. He's in serious but stable condition. Video was provided by another store employee.
A woman wanted in connection with the deaths of 4 people in Calgary has been arrested in Toronto. 24-year-old Yuche Liao was taken into custody last night. She was wanted on a Canada-wide warrant for fraud but hasn't been charged. Police say she is thought to have played a significant role in 4 killings, including the deaths of 3 people found in a burned-out car in Calgary earlier this month. Well, in international news, a train crash this morning in Spain has injured more than 50 people. These images show the damage that resulted when a commuter train slammed into buffers at a station in Barcelona. The train platform became a triage station for paramedics tending to the injured. Remarkably, only one of the 56 victims was seriously hurt. There's no word yet on the cause of the crash.
Well, how's this for a welcoming party? Miranda Dwyer and her boyfriend got quite a surprise when they arrived at their camping destination in western Newfoundland recently. This lynx met them and their 2 dogs as they were stepping out of their truck.
Yeah, Miranda says the lynx quietly and slowly walked around them for about a minute and then sat there staring at them for about 10 minutes before it slowly made its way back into the woods. She says it's her first time ever seeing a lynx.
Welcome back to Here and Now. Well, it's the type of luck many of us would like, but few will likely get. 69-year-old Jules Perron has won the lottery for the 2nd time in less than 10 years. This week, the Quebec man won a 7-figure payout, and in 2008, he also won $1 million. Perron plans to use the money to build a new home.
Or maybe put it all in lottery tickets. Well, call it Canadiana overload. Onlookers in Alberta caught this brave Mountie standing guard and chasing away a curious black bear. Sergeant Clayton Wilburn was just trying to return a lost wallet when he encountered the animal, and he says the tourists were thrilled at the 2-for-1 photo op.
That's the most Canadian video we've had on the show tonight. No question about it.
It just needed like a beaver and a maple leaf.
Yeah. And the bear was running to catch some poutine.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, let's take a look at who is celebrating birthdays and anniversaries this week.
Happy 56th anniversary to Anita and Jim Mahoney from St. John's. They're celebrating on July 31st. Wishing Mary Elizabeth White of Bonavista happy 98th birthday. Congratulations to Lynn and Bernice Barrett. They're celebrating their 52nd anniversary. Happy 55th wedding anniversary to Joan and Calvin Williams of Lewisporte. Happy 62nd wedding anniversary yesterday to Bessie and Albert Noel of Carbonear.
Happy birthday to Theresa of Carbonear, who's celebrating her 90th birthday. We're told she never misses Here and Now. Congratulations to Shirley and Edgar Hindy. They're celebrating their 60th anniversary tomorrow. Happy 55th wedding anniversary to Calvin and Marilyn Potter of Lewisporte. Best wishes to Mack and Maisie Chaulk of Charlottetown, Bonavista Bay. Their 60th wedding anniversary was yesterday. Happy 50th anniversary to Gilbert and Doris Phillips of Bunyan's Cove. Family and friends will be celebrating with them tomorrow.
Happy 52nd anniversary to Arch and Annie Drover of Hodge's Cove. They were married on July 26th, which is also Arch's 74th birthday. So happy birthday there too. Madeline Thomas Roberts is turning 90 on August 2nd. She's originally from St. Paul's River, Quebec, but now lives in Blanc-Sablon. Hope you have a wonderful birthday. Best wishes to Roy and Triffy of Lewisporte on their 51st anniversary. Happy 92nd birthday to Margaret Gosse in St. John's. She celebrated yesterday. Wishing Ralph Yetman of Jamestown a very happy 90th birthday on Sunday.
Happy 90th birthday to Emily Antle, living in Marystown. Happy 61st anniversary to Ross and Rowena from Head of Norris Arm North, but now living in Grand Falls, Windsor. Anniversary greetings to Ruby and Nigel Smith of Bishop's Cove, who celebrated their 59th wedding anniversary on July 25th. It's a golden anniversary tomorrow for Margaret and Roland Carter. Congratulations. Congratulations also to Andrew and Mildred Rousel of Leading Tickles, who are celebrating their 68th wedding anniversary.
Happy 50th anniversary to Bob and Doreen Nippard of Boyd's Cove. Happy 63rd anniversary today to Bruce and Francis Pittman in Badger. Congratulations to Alan and Lorraine Bambury of Pools Cove, who will be celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary tomorrow. Also celebrating tomorrow is Julia Verge of Random Island. It's her 90th birthday. Happy 56th wedding anniversary to Jack and Glennie Stuckless of Badger.
Birthday greetings going out to George Bruchette from Creston North, Marystown. His 98th birthday is on August 2nd. Here he is with his youngest granddaughter. Happy 90th birthday to Sidney Cox from Markland, now living in Spaniards Bay. Happy 99th birthday to Alice Mercer tomorrow. Alice is from Bay Roberts, but now living in Placentia. Happy 50th anniversary to Linda and Alistair Lilly of Lewisporte, who will be celebrating on July 31st.
Happy 57th wedding anniversary greetings going out to Verna and Nelson White of Cox's Cove. Happy 50th wedding anniversary to Kevin and Mabel Shepherd of Lark Harbor. Wilfred and Ruby Reese of Spaniards Bay are celebrating 57 years of marriage. Best wishes to Donald and Shirley Locke of Corner Brook, who are celebrating their 61st wedding anniversary. And congratulations to Rowena and Gerald Smith of Dildo, who celebrated their golden wedding anniversary on July 22nd.
And a fine-looking crew once again. A quick recap on your forecast. Again, wet in the west and into Labrador to start the day tomorrow. Watch as we roll into the afternoon. That line moves eastward into central parts of Newfoundland, where we'll have a risk of some showers and some thunderstorms there. Late day risk in the Burin. I think the Avalon and Metro stays dry for tomorrow. It's a late evening arrival, like closer to midnight. Sunday's a different story. Yeah, you see the colorful colors there, the yellows and oranges and reds in the east. That is periods of rain at times, heavy risk of thunderstorms as well. We are talking 20 to 50 millimeters there across the southeast, but a nice day in the west.
Oh, wow.
And how about this?
I know what that is.
Yeah, I spy with my little eye something that looks like an island. The best part about this picture
is it PEI? Is it PEI?
The best part about this picture, guys, is that it was taken in Labrador.
Oh, great.
Hillary Gear in Happy Valley Goose Bay, just to bring us all together as a province. I love that.
Fantastic. Great shot. Good eye. Well, that's it for us, and hope you have a fantastic weekend. Get out and enjoy some of the lovely weather coming.
Yeah, I'm hoping the weather stays good. I want to go do a little bit of cod fishing this weekend, so...
Tomorrow? Tomorrow.
We'll stick with that.
Not Sunday. Yeah.
Good night.
Have a good weekend.